Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we have the new Tier 10 German Steel Destroyer import to review for you guys today, the Z-42. This ship's been through quite a few changes from her original announcement in the dev blog to her final release in game. Quite a few hard nerfs as well, so we're going to take a look at her today and see if she is worth it. As always, massive shout out to the channel's Patreons for making this review and all ships reviews on this channel possible. I'm not a CC, nor supported by, nor affiliated with Wargaming in any way, shape, or form, so their generous donations make ship reviews possible on this channel. If you wish to contribute to that and be so generous, link to that is in the description down below. So Z-42, what is this ship? So a very simple way to describe this thing is it's basically a German Harugamo. She has a high number of rapid-firing, smaller caliber DD guns. She's equipped with a bunch of 105mm guns. They do have the German HE pins though, so they do pin more than, of course, similar guns. Similar caliber guns. So they got that going for them. And, well, we'll see what else the ship has going for her today. Like I said, this is a steel ship. This does cost 27,000 steel. So it is a pretty pricey ship, and a ship that you're going to have to grind steel out to get if you do wish to pick her up. So, a pretty heavy investment to get this ship, but hopefully today I can help you decide whether or not you want to pick this up for yourself. So let's go ahead and go over the Z-42 right now. So for the economic bonus, she just have, the normal premium bonus package. This is not a full-out premium, so she doesn't have the baked-in bonus as well. Just the bonus that you get here in, well, with any resource, high-tier resource ship, 50% to credits, 100% to the various types of XP. This is her camo. Now, unlike a lot, Unlike a lot of other premium ships nowadays, her camo doesn't have at least 3 colors to it. So ever since the economic rework, they've been just giving us these monotone premium camos, but at least hers is a little bit different. Alright, her armor, I mean, it's a DD, 19mm everywhere, and of course no citadel, so, yep, it's a DD. For her survivability, she has 19,700 hit points, and I'm guessing no torpedo damage reduction there. Now, her guns are, of course, the main attraction on this ship. She has 10 of these 105mm guns. They reload in 4.5 second space, 180 in 18 seconds. They have a maximum dispersion of 109 meters, a maximum range base of 12.6 kilometers. Her HE shells do 1,200 maximum damage, which is a little low. They have a 5% chance of causing a fire on target per shell. She has 26mm of HE pin. Again, that's with those German HE pin abilities. A 900 meters a second initial velocity of the guns. Her AP is actually quite good. 2,300 maximum damage out of these 105mm guns. For comparison, the Downey with 130mm guns, her AP is doing 2,600. And over here, with guns that are 25mm smaller, it's only a couple hundred down in the Z-42, so that's pretty good. And that's it for her guns. She does have, again, 10 of them. This is where it's going to get interesting, because, I mean, like, 26mm of pin, yeah, it's good for 105mm guns, but for tier 10, you're going to need to take IFHE. So we'll see how that performs. Torpedoes, she does have 8 of the 533mm torps. This is something that they nerfed pretty hard, but then they returned it to her. I think they nerfed it down to like 6 kilometers or something like that. But then they gave her 10-kilometer torps back, thank God. And they're the standard German torpedoes. 13,700 maximum damage, 62 knots, 1.3 kilometer detect. Reloads at 100 seconds. She does have depth charges, so good luck with that. A rating of 63, which means that she doesn't have AA by tier 10 standards. Maximum speed of 36.5 knots, 670 meter turning circle radius, 4.4 second rudder shift time. Consumables is 7.6 kilometers base. And for her box O gimmicks, she does have the German Hydro. So 6 kilometer range is active for 120 seconds. That's very nice. 3 charges of that base. She has engine boost, 8% to her maximum speed, and is also active for 120 seconds. And something really weird with this ship, or I guess unique depending upon your viewpoint, she has a short burst smoke generator. This is what the British GDs get. This is great for disengaging and running away. With the British GDs, their playstyle, their cap contesting playstyle, it's really useful. Z-42, of course, something that, at least on the surface, appears to be more like Rugamo. It's not exactly a smoke you can sit there and farm in. So, I mean, again, if you're in the cap and you need to run away, sure, and with the number of guns that she has and the reload time, especially once you build into it, sure, maybe it'll work out, we'll see. And of course, damage con, 5 seconds, 40-second reload time. Say 5-second run time, 40-second reload time. Alright, that is her stats. I'm going to go ahead, throw Commander on here, and then I'll meet you guys right back here. Alright, so I got Lucian's on here for obvious reasons. If you guys don't know, he does have the main battery loader, which you can get a 7.5% boost to your reload time once you get 140 main battery shell hits. Don't think that'll be a problem here in the Z-42 popping that, so there's that. For the commander build, I went with preventive maintenance, which gives us a 45% reduction in the chance of our modules becoming incapacitated. Now this isn't another improved skill with Lucian, so yeah. I went with Last Stand because, of course, if modules get knocked out, it would be nice if they still worked. And that's what Last Stand does. It allows those modules to keep working, but at a reduced rate. So, like, if your engine gets knocked out, you can still move rather than not. Then, my other 2 points go in with Consumable Enhancements, which increases the runtime of Hydro, Boost, and Smoke by 10%. And then I have Survivability Expert on here for another buff to our HP. You get 350 HP per tier. And then IFHE to get our pins over, what is it now? 32. So now we pin 32. Good consistent damage. Then Adrenaline Rush, because of course, if you take damage, it'd be nice if you get a boost to your reload time out of it, and that's what AR does. I went with Main Battery A Specialist to get our reload just a little bit down, and I'm still kind of considering maybe swapping this out, but we'll talk more about that with the modules. And then Consumables Expert. And then for the modules, I went with Main Armaments Mod 1 to give our guns the best chance possible at surviving, because this reduces the chance of them becoming busted by 20%, buffs their survivability by 50%, and decreases their reload time by 20%, and that applies to the torps as well. Then went with Engine Room Protection to reduce the chance of our engine room getting knocked out by 20% and improve the repair time by 20%, and same for the steering gears. Aiming System Mod 1 to rein in our dispersion a bit, plus there's not really much in this category that I think really would help anyway. Like the main battery traverse speed, maybe we'll see how that works. 18 seconds doesn't sound too terrible, but we'll see. Then I went with Propulsion Mod 1 because it reduces the time it takes us to get to full speed by 50%. So we can get a little jukey because we don't have any smoke screen, and we'll see how that works. And then of course, we'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. Then Concealment Systems for a 10% boost to our concealment. And then with the range mod to give us 14 kilometers. We'll see how the shells handle, but 14 kilometers is, I think, a pretty sweet zone for tier 10 DACA boats like this. Again, we'll see how the shells handled. It's going to depend a lot on their flight characteristics, but we'll see. We might come back and maybe retool it for like a really close range DD eater, but right now I'm thinking it's tier 10. Everyone's going to be at like maximum range, so we'll go with this for now. Alright, so what does that do? We now have 23,200 HP. The guns reload in 4.3 seconds, have a 14.6 kilometer range. We have 32 millimeters of HE pin, 3.5% fire chance. That is with the fire flags. The torpedoes, nothing changed there. Concealment's now down to 6.2. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pop into some games of the Z-42. I'll meet you guys there in a voiceover review of the Z-42. Alright guys, voiceover Mountbatten here. And, well, the Z-42... this ship is odd. Very odd in my mind. It's a weird mix of British and German. It's got the great AP of the Germans, the 105s of the Germans with the HE pins of the Germans. Then you go and give it the British DD smoke and German hydro and German torps. So it isn't exactly a German Harugumo because you won't really be using HE a lot in this ship. If you're using HE a lot, you're playing it... Well, either one, you're actually in a situation when you can farm down a battleship, which, yeah, sure. In that case, you're going to be using HE. Two, you're kind of gimping yourself in damage, especially if you're using HE against DDs, because the AP on this ship is crazy. The AP against DDs, I was easily able to chunk most DDs like 3 to 5k every salvo, and even with the nerfs to the DPM, that's still quite a lot of damage from this ship, especially against other DDs. I mean, that's like a quarter of their health every salvo, just about, and you should be using AP as your primary munition in this ship against other DDs. It's great at murdering DDs, and with that, in combination with the hydro, it's like, oh, okay, I see. It's meant to be a cap contesting DD. 6 kilometer hydro, runs for 2 minutes. You've got the short burst smoke that can allow you to disengage if you get spotted. You just need to get out of there. And you got the engine boost to run away too. Couple that with the AP. Okay, I see what I think they were going for with this ship. Okay, cool. In practice, it doesn't really go that well because, well, radar is everywhere at tier 10. You gotta watch out for that. There's other cap contesting DDs that have better tools for cap contesting because, yes, while a 2-minute hydro, great AP versus DDs, engine boost and short burst smoke is a decent set to have when it comes time to cap contest. Radar is a lot better. A heal is a lot better. And there's ships out there with both. So, yeah, what you have here is a mediocre to good cap contesting DD, but there's great to amazing cap contesting DDs out there. Honestly, I'd happily trade the exhaust smoke. I wish I had exhaust smoke. That would be pretty neat. The short burst smoke for a heal. That would make this ship a lot better, in my opinion. But it doesn't have a heal. It has short burst smoke. Now, a couple of things have to go right with this ship for you to do well. One, you need team support. Like any cap contesting DD does, you of course need team support. But you need it even more so in this ship because you don't have a heal, you don't have radar. So, yeah, you need guys to back you up. And what happened with me when I was playing this ship for review, every time I would go into a cap to try and, do DD things, my team was a couple of dozen kilometers behind me, and the enemy players in the cap, the DDs, they had their full team support. I mean, there was a match when I was in the cap trying to hold on to it, and my team, including 2 DDs, were literally no closer than 15 kilometers, and one of the DDs was a daring. Great cap contesting DD. A daring and a Z-42 combo would be quite fearsome to deal with if you're trying to take the cap away from them with the hydro, the German amazing AP that this thing has, and then the AP of the daring's ability to heal, and the daring's torps. It would have been great, but that didn't happen. So of course, if you're playing this in a div with your buddies or stuff, great ship to have in a div with your buddies, where you can cover the weaknesses of each other. But of course, a lot of ships get boosted by that as well. But as a solo go out by yourself ship, you also need to be near islands if you really want to farm in this thing, because of course you can't just pop smoke and farm. So if you can manage to get near a cap or get spawned near a cap that has some island cover, sure, you can farm to your heart's content. Speaking of farming, you aren't really going to be using HE in this thing. If you're using HE primarily, you're gimping yourself in terms of damage because the HE alpha is so low. You want to use that AP even against DDs. Like I said, you can be chunking them for 3 to 5k with the AP. With the HE, you're going to be cutting that literally in half. Again, unless maybe they're angled in or angled out to you, you want to break the modules, then sure, use the HE, but primarily AP is what you're going to be using. And farming as well, don't think of this as a Haruga mode. You aren't going to be sitting in smoke, sitting behind an island, farming something the entire game. You should be using your great AP to deal with DDs, and with the build that I have on it, I could, swap in the reload module. That would help a bit, but again, with how matches go, you sometimes do need the 14-kilometer range, because sometimes that's the only thing that you can shoot at times. But I am considering just going full send like I did with the kid and put in a full kind of knife fighting build on it. But again, without a heal, radar, decent smoke, I'm not sure how too well that would go. So overall, for a steel ship, a ship that's going to cost you like 27,000 steel, not like 27,000 steel, it costs 27,000 steel. Still is a resource that you have to spend a lot of time accumulating, or spend a lot of money accumulating. If you do the dockyards, buy your way through the dockyards, go back up through them with the missions and stuff, you can of course get a nice bit of steel that way. But normally you're going to get it through playing ranked and clan battles. And even for someone like me that's more involved with the game and more involved with those modes, it takes, a year or so to get enough steel in order to acquire a steel ship. And when you look at the other steel ships out there, there are some fantastic steel ships out there. Burgon, Stalingrad, Shikishima. Great ships. This is not one of them. This is not one of them. It's not a bad ship. It's not utter trash. It's frustrating to use. It's got to be in the right situation. You got to have support. And when you do have those things going for you, you can perform quite well. You just don't need to be looking at this from a standpoint of, oh, did I farm 150,000 damage or 200,000 damage from battleships this game. It's not a ship like that. It's meant to fight DDs, and it's very good at fighting DDs when it's supported. Again, the AP on this thing murders DDs. I managed to perform well enough to where I was doing like 75, 80,000 damage in most games, primarily to DDs, because that's what I was focused on doing. And the reason I was griping about the Cyclones earlier is because these were Cyclone matches. So the Cyclone rolls in, I can deal with the DDs and such, and managed to survive long enough to do that, but then I can't really, get to the end and farm down those last couple of battleships and stuff to, pad my stats and pad my damage and earnings and such. So that was really frustrating. But it can do it, obviously. 14-kilometer range with the build that I have on it, and then the DPM. Even with the terrible HG Alpha, the amount of shells you're going to be slinging at battleship and stuff, it can do it. I just didn't get the opportunity to do it because the matchmaker decided, hey, you're going to be playing in a hurricane for the next hour or so. So, is it worth the steel? If you have, all the steel ships that you want, you got the Stalingrad, you got the Shikishima, you got the whatever other steel ships that you wanted to get, and you just have some leftover steel, sure. If you got the steel sitting around. But if you haven't gotten, the Mecklenburg, Shikishima, Burgon, Incomparable, Alston, Stalingrad, no, this is a very low priority steel ship, and steel ships stick around for, Stalingrad's been out for forever now, so it's not like it's going anywhere. So I wouldn't recommend spending a steel on it if you don't have, again, any of the other steel ships that are good, which is, all of them. Except for maybe Plymouth. Plymouth is a little from what I've seen. And Vallejo too. But anyway, when Ragnar's still out there, I mean, yeah, why would you buy this over Ragnar, Shikishima, Mecklenburg, Stalingrad? I think I've made my point there. But anyway, a numerical rating overall, I would give this ship a 7 out of 10, because when it is supported, when you have team support, when the match goes decently well, it's a pretty good little boat. But there's just better ones out there for what it does that don't cost 27,000 steel and can do what this thing does better. So there's no real need to rush out and buy this ship right now, in my opinion. So the pros are, again, that great German AP, 6 kilometer 2-minute hydro, 2-minute engine boost. The HE pins on the 105s, the German HE pins, 26 millimeters base, 32 with IFHE. So if you put IFHE on there, you can get good consistent damage on the battleships that you will be farming, as long as you don't get a cyclone game for 5 games in a row like I did. The torpedoes, 10 kilometer torps, they are decent. I had no problems getting hit here and there, and they're torpedoes. They do what they do. Its main downsides being it's exceptionally low HE alpha. You don't have a heal. The turrets are very sluggish to traverse, and the turret angles, if you want to get all of them on the target, the rear 2 turrets have some very, very not so great angles. So if you want to get all your guns on the target, you do have to show a lot of broadside. Granted, it's a DD, so it's not like they're going to be pinning you anymore, but there is more of you to hit when you're showing them more of your broadside rather than when you are angled. And the AA is pretty much non-existent on this thing. So guys, that's my 2 cents on the Z-42. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.